Welcome back, people. We already learned how to create new data types using classes. Now, we will focus on a constructors. This is the syntax of constructor def. Uh, this is a magic function in it, and self, which is a keyword, and under the colon, it is a body of the constructor. Constructor has two types. One is a parameterized constructor. Second one is a default constructor. We also have certain disadvantages for the constructor. One is it has only a limited functionality. We do not have access modifiers like public, private, or protected, which we have in other programming languages in Python. So it has limited functionality. Overloading is not supported. In other programming languages, overloading is supported in constructors, but in Python, it does not support method overloading, which means we cannot have multiple constructors with different parameters in a single class, and sometimes it increases the complexity of the code. Constructors may be unnecessary if the default value of the attributes are sufficient. In such cases, constructors just added unnecessary complexity to the code. What is a default constructor and what is a parameterized constructor? The default constructor doesn't accept any argument. It has only one argument, which is self. A parameterized constructor has many arguments, one of which is self, and arguments, other parameters are provided by the user. So we learned that we can create a point object without x or y coordinates. So as we saw in this class program, before initializing x, if we try to print x, then it will show attribute error, just like we saw on the last video. If you have not seen this video about the classes, I will the video link in the cards. Whenever we talk about a point, it is necessary to know its coordinates. So we use constructor to create x and y attributes. A constructor is a function that gets called at the time of creating the object. We may also want to pass the value of x and y, let's say 10 and 20, and with this the point object will have x equal to 10 and y equal to 20. Let's write the code now. Always remember to start the name of the class with uppercase character. So here, since we want to initialize the value of x and y, we will use parameterized constructor. We will give the parameters as x and y, and inside which now, now init is the function or the method that gets called when we create a new object, and we add two parameters x and y. And in the body of the method, we should read the values passed to the parameters and use them to initialize our object. So x takes the value of 10 and y 20. So do you see these two lines? This means that we are assigning the value of variable x and y to the attribute of the current object point x and point y respectively. Self reference the object in the memory, the same object from which we pass the value of 10 and 20. So when initializing the object, we are passing the value of 10 and 20, which gets assigned to x and y, and this becomes 10, x becomes 10, and y becomes 20, which is assigned to self dot x and self dot y, which is very similar to. So doesn't it look familiar? Self is replaced by point one, that is the name of the object. That's what we are doing here. So these two lines are unnecessary now that we initialize the attributes in the class itself. We can also update these attributes anywhere in the code. Let's say first let's print these attributes. In the code, you'll see the output as 10 because we are printing the attribute x of the object point 1. So we can also change or update these attributes anywhere in the code. So now let's run the code. You'll see it has been changed to 50. So I guess you would have understood about constructors. Now let me give you a practice problem. So the problem is to create a class called vehicle. As we already saw in this example, we are going to create a class called vehicle with color and speed attributes and a method to print the speed and the color. Not exactly this example, but somewhat similar to that. Okay, so let's So we have a class called vehicle, and inside which we initialized a constructor with two parameters, color and speed, which are being passed as red and 100 for first object and blue and 50 for the second object. So color becomes red and 100 when the first object is being called, and this gets assigned to self dot color and self dot speed, which means car1 dot color and car1 dot speed. Then we have a function or the method called printer, and this prints the speed of the car. So let's run the program. I mean, first let's call the method. Now, let's run the program. As you can see, the output is the red car went at a speed of 100 and the blue car went at a speed of 50. I hope you would have understood better with this example. Try it yourself and post your code in the comments.